Federal authorities provided new details about an ambush attack on officers at an immigration detention facility in North Texas. A police officer was shot in the neck outside the detention center in Alvarado Friday. Fox 4's Amelia Jones in studio with the latest tonight. Amelia.
Clarice, the Alvarado police officer who was shot is expected to recover. The Department of Justice says this marks the 5th assault on law enforcement officers in the northern Texas district this year. Nearly a dozen people are now facing multiple federal charges.
Make no mistake, this was not a so-called peaceful protest. It was indeed an ambush.
Monday, the Department of Justice shared new details on a shooting at the Prairie Land Detention Center in Alvarado, south of Fort Worth. Officials say around 10:30 p.m. on July 4th, a group of 10 to 12 people dressed in black military-style clothing shot off fireworks and vandalized the facility.
They engaged in the graffiti, they damaged vehicles and a guard structure. The graffiti had such words as traitor, ice pig, other profanity.
Officials say this was a ruse to draw out the ICE personnel, and it worked. 2 unarmed corrections officers went to speak with the vandals. Meanwhile, the group signaled a gunman nearby. Alvarado police responded to a 911 call at the facility. When the officer got there, he was shot in the neck, and another assailant fired 20 to 30 rounds at the unarmed corrections officers. When the suspects fled the scene, the Johnson County Sheriff's Office stopped a vehicle leaving the detention center.
There was a single driver in that vehicle. The sheriff deputy saw in plain sight a firearm. Another firearm was in the back seat. And there were 2 Kevlar ballistic-style vests also in that vehicle.
According to court documents, this driver told the sheriff deputy he met some people online and took them from Dallas to the detention center to, quote, make some noise. On the detention center property, sheriff deputies stopped 7 individuals near where the Alvarado police officer was shot.
Some were wearing body armor, some were covered in mud, some were armed, and some had 2-way radios on them.
And this sounds like a coordinated and well planned out attack from the nonviolent protests for the illegal immigrants. It's getting more and more nonviolent as the days go by. It's disruptive. It needs to be put to an end. The Democrats cannot play like they're innocent when they allowed all these people in here. And the only response is to try to do something. Getting them out is not the answer, though. They need to be processed differently, one by one, and determine if you come up, get your citizenship. If you're a good person, come up and get your citizenship. If you come up and you're not a good person, you're going to be deported. And if you don't come up at all, you're going to be deported. We can't allow this. You know how many marches and protests going in this country over LGBTQ, black issues, abortion issues, pets, fucking PETA, all kind of shit. And a lot of them get violent. And when they do, then the situation have to be met appropriately. But out of all of those, there's some that don't get violent. They don't plot out to ambush and attack police when they're like not expecting it. I mean, that's pretty serious stuff right there. I'm kind of shocked that this is going on the way it's going on. I don't think that Trump's response is the best. But then again, if I was given that challenge, I don't think my response would be any better. It'd be different, but I don't know if it would be any better. It's very difficult to try to remove such a large amount of people from the country, and you have a significant part of the country fighting for them to be retained in the country, and little instances of extreme violence are popping up and being attached to that illegal immigration movement. But it seems like they report the story and then move on as if it never happened. It's not enough attention being paid to the level of you're taking someone potentially away from their loved ones by some terrorist type activity. And the reason for your terrorist activity is to make ICE leave you alone, to allow you to incorporate into the United States and be left alone and be allowed to. Is that really the kind of people that we want in the country? People who have that mindset. If they don't get their way, they're going to start killing law enforcement officials. That's not supposed to happen. And it's totally not acceptable. And I don't know what to tell you as far as how the United States seems to be kind of softening. This isn't the old United States that I grew up knowing about. And when you get out of line like that, you know, and commit acts of violence, even on people who look like you, that shit ain't tolerated. They give you a lot of time for that, and they segregate you off from the rest of the population for a long time, if not forever. And I'm just seeing a little bit of leniency and understanding where people can really see the humane and human side of these illegal immigrants. And it's just so weird to me that this is the same country that so many other instances have gone on in this country and are going on in this country. No one in this country has ever thought that the high amount of black men being killed at the hands of police was worth any kind of intervention or really making sure this stop. And I don't mean a march and a speech. I mean a real action that's gonna. What if black people felt that the best retaliation was to try to ambush police, hide outside their police stations, and snipe at them with rifles and throw rocks at them and antagonize them? It would take away from our fight. People would say, "Oh man, they want to go to war with the police. They don't want to change the policies. They want to shoot and maim and hurt police officers." And it would take away from the credibility of your fight. People would not support you. But the reason I gave up that little scenario is because in this same instance, we are seeing bricks being thrown while caravans of ICE agents go through cities. People on the side are throwing bricks and rocks and bottles, and I don't care how strongly you oppose this immigration policy that Trump has us under. You have no right, no one has any right to start throwing bottles and bricks and otherwise at the police officers. And then it's equally as troubling to see that other segment that fights to defend the illegal immigrant against other law enforcement. To see law enforcement pitted against law enforcement is it's very, very sad. And this could spiral into something that we will all live to regret. And that's why I think it needs to be managed better at the top. And they need to quit playing the games. When they have the opportunity to vote and make things happen, I'm speaking to the Democrats, make it happen. Do your thing and show us the forward movement. Think about it, guys. The Democrats are on the losing end of politics right now. Now, us as a party, let's say we could each get 3 votes for our 1 vote. 3 votes instead of 1 vote. And when this last election with the presidents came, we got to use 3 votes each, not just 1. Make sure the Democrats win. And we taken that vote and made sure they got in. All we would have been ensuring ourselves is permanent place at the bottom, a permanent opportunity to never move up, because they already have had us there for over 60 years. And we haven't tried to break free because we don't identify it as a problem. In my best opinion, it looks like this illegal immigrant issue is waking or giving us the opportunity to snap out of it and wake up and see a self-imposed situation, in my opinion, by people coming into this country, and then the support for that movement and that cause is making the civil rights movement look like small potatoes. We had movements that broke out in individual cities and towns over the country over the course of the civil rights movement. These folks are busting out in LA, Philadelphia, Boston, New York, Chicago simultaneously in numbers, significant numbers, and with the support of a certain segment of the United States government. The state, county, and local levels, city type level folks are siding with the illegal immigrants, are backing them, are chanting to the ICE agents, get out of our city. Yeah, you get on, you get out here and leave them alone. And this type of behavior is happening in the background, and it's staying in the background. They don't want to pull that to the front and let that be the face of this movement, when in other instances they have taken one incident of violence and painted the whole movement that way. But in this instance, they have a really good team of people protecting and controlling this on every level. And it's kind of strange to seeing how things have always gone in this country when these type of movements happen, when racial groups get out in the streets for just that, because they feel they're being wronged as a group of citizens. And then this, and the support is just so much more, that is so obvious, it's in your face, that if these people can get this type of support without any citizenship, without the same rights that we all have, without the reason they're out there is because they run the risk of being removed from the country because of their immigration status. It ain't their fault that our government got these harsh rules and policies and prejudices that to get people into this country, and then once they get in, how they or what their opportunities are genuinely. We got some real resilient people who come into this country. They fight hard to get their businesses and their lives in order and all of that. And everybody, and even the majority of those folks aren't bad people. But when you got people out shooting bullets, and if your cause brings that kind of support and that kind of a response to what should be an appropriate response. You're in the United States illegally. You don't get to be over here on vacation. You need to understand you're here illegally, and at any time that can end. And when people turn around and say, well, why did they deport Ms. Rodriguez from down the street? She's been here for over 40 years. Do you guys know my boss has gone to run for 40 years, 35 years, hiding out, watering plants, have a cat, an old lady living with you, your woman, or one of your old crime partners, and y'all just chilling, looking like an old couple of retirees, and then they figure out who you are, and what do? They come in and they arrest you, and they take you away. They don't say, hey, what, he's been here for 40 years? Oh, shit. And was he a good neighbor? Oh, he's a good neighbor? Okay, we'll let him stay. They don't do that. And we shouldn't do that in any other front, in any other way. The whole country has to be treated the same way. I'm starting to get a feeling about this movement where a lot of the Hispanic folks out there in the street, the immigrants, the illegal immigrants, are wearing Indian garb and Indian feathers and basically turning this into a, this is our land kind of a thing. And it's like, historically, everybody knows how things were derived or taken or whatever you want to say. We all know, and people included, we know. But if you want to get to the point of where the United States of America has this land, and nobody seems to be questioning it, and they're telling you that you have came across that border illegally, and now you want to start saying this is our land in the first. Now you're taking it to a whole nother level. We can't support that. I can't support that because I feel the same way deep down inside, but I do know that that's unacceptable in this environment and in this country. and it get you jailed or killed. And for these people to be out and about with it like that, and successfully so. I mean, shooting police officers is not the way to go. But if in the grand scheme of things, this kind of stuff doesn't stick out and harm this movement in any way, then you're letting these people know that it may have not been such a bad idea. It absolutely has to be attached to this movement in a way where people can understand and balance it properly and not make it look like it's all roses and bowls of cherries and everything is beautiful when it isn't.
When authorities searched the area, they found more body armor, spray paint, and flyers with anti-ICE messaging.
Over the course of the weekend, additional related searches occurred. We found masks, goggles, tactical gloves. One residence of one of the defendants, there was additional body armor. There was a cache of 9 additional weapons, spray paint, fireworks, and again, insurrectionist material.
The Department of Justice charged the 10 suspects with 3 counts of attempted murder of a federal officer and 3 counts of discharging a firearm in relation to a crime of violence. An additional co-conspirator is charged with obstruction of justice and conspiracy for attempting to conceal and destroy evidence in relation to the attack. He faces up to 10 years in prison.
This will not be tolerated. Those who use violence against law enforcement officers will be found and they will be prosecuted with the toughest criminal statutes and penalties that we have available to us.
Court documents show that 9 of the people arrested were from North Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth, Kennedale, and Waxahachie. The other was from College Station. The 10 each face a mandatory prison sentence of up to 10 years to life in prison. Back to you, Clarice.
Up to 10 years to life. Did you hear the list of stuff, including a shooting, and he actually hit somebody? Whew. That just seems real light to 10 years to be, up to 10 years to life, whatever the hell that means. I don't think any numbers like that should be talked about. That sounds like a coordinated effort to murder somebody. And because you were a bad aim, it didn't happen, basically. Bullets flew. And that's, it just seems so... like they're just reporting a story and moving on with it instead of really attaching this to an issue that's going to be an issue. We're not very deep into this. We're at the beginning stages of this. This isn't a normal thing. We haven't figured out how this is going to go or how long it's going to last or how intense it's going to get. How hot is this fire going to burn with this illegal immigration? And are we going to adjust to them? Or are they going to adjust to us? Because if the Democrats have allowed so many people into the country to where just on pure numbers alone, we have to make some allowances and allow these people in on their terms to some degree, then it just makes me even more disgusted to think just because we have a finite number of African-American Black descendants of slaves here in the country, so we can't ever garner that kind of an attack or that kind of a movement because it's not based on fairness. It's not based on what's really going on with the movement and how the movement came to be or any of the dynamics that go with that kind of stuff. It just basically comes down to numbers. If you got a whole bunch of numbers and the receiving team, believe me, has a need for you, that you're going to make it. It looks like you're going to be okay. Because if they didn't have a need for you, I don't give a damn if it was 90 million illegal immigrants in this country. The United States of America has gotten rid of more than 90 million people before. So believe me, that wouldn't be a problem if they wanted them out. And it's very unfortunate for us to have to live in this political climate that government agencies are being attacked, that people are losing their livelihoods and their comfort levels. It's not good for someone to come across the border illegally. That's not legal, but it's also not good for the United States of America and these communities and cities to build fences and walls around those people to protect them and to give some credence to that act of walking into a country that you don't belong in. You didn't come as a student. You didn't come as a visitor or a guest or on vacation. You came to take up permanent residency here. And just as an added feature, to my opinion, just so people understand how clear I feel about it, I feel if you're on vacation in the United States from any country in the world, and I mean this across the board, no particular country in particular, and you're pregnant, say you're 8 months pregnant, and you figure you're going to be on vacation for about a week and a half or two, and then when you get back home 3 weeks later, you're going to have a baby. You have that baby in the United States. According to the United States, that is a citizen of the United States. Totally. You're here for legal purposes. You're a student. You get pregnant. You have that baby in the United States. That baby, you might be a student from India or Australia or somewhere else, but that baby is a United States citizen. Now, you sneak into the country. Let's say, for instance, you're from South Africa and you're vacationing down in Mexico. You sneak on across the border as a South African. Have a baby. In my opinion, that baby is not a citizen of the United States because you committed a crime to get into this country. You snuck into this country and probably with that intention. That is not what that Constitution was written for to protect bad behavior, to protect people who say, oh, I'm going to sneak into the country and have a baby, and then my baby will be there. And they don't really deport people anyway, so we're going to have a good life. That needs to stop. It just needs to stop. It needs to be understood that that's not the way things are going to go. And the only way that we can ever get this right is if Congress agrees. We're going to need both sides to get together and agree on this shit so we can do something that makes sense and we can begin to talk about quality of life. It seems like they just want these people to come in and cater to their lofty upper middle class and wealthy lives while the rest of us have to live among the people who they're letting in the country. And it's not a bad thing and not like we're capable of doing it or not, but it does limit our opportunity. That gas station that opened up on the corner, or that cleaners that just got bought, or the guy over here in the park selling barbecue. Well, you can't be selling too much barbecue and doing good at it if you got 2 taco carts on each side of the park. I mean, it lowers our opportunities, it lowers our quality of life, and it lowers the way we do things. We do things with permits and inspections. And when you are selling food, inspections and all that should be adhered to. You need to go down to City Hall and get a permit and let them know where you're going to be, what you're selling. And there should be some type of inspector from that city who should be aware of your presence. You don't just get to pull up on your own. What if somebody came to this country and pretended to be selling tacos and were killing people? That's an act of terrorism. But we're doing nothing to prevent it because people are just pulling up on our corners and just selling food. The cleanliness could be questionable. The cooking of the food itself. The food itself. How do we know it's not rotten meat? You're just selling it to people for money. How do we know who these people are? And these things aren't being looked at because they're selling it to people who, if a few of them die, then they'll put a case together and go after them. But people have to die. They're not doing anything to prevent it. They're encouraging it. I don't know, you guys. I think we're getting to this point in the country where Black Americans are going to have to take up a fight. And it's going to have to be independent of everybody else's fight, because if it's not, then whatever we get out of that fight, we got to share with everyone else, and we will historically get the least. It's just the way it is. like, comment, share, and please subscribe. And we'll see you on the next Black Popcorn.